The second generation Bentley Bentayga hybrid is one of motoring's stranger anomalies. It's been comprehensively redesigned inside and out to a point where it looks bigger and more imposing than ever before. And yet it's still very much a Marmite car visually. And although its hybrid system means it can do 81 mpg, in theory, in reality it's still a gas-guzzling SUV at heart. A car that seems even more out of kilter with the world in which we live now than it did when it went on sale in 2015. But what's it like to drive though? What's the new interior like? Does the V6 based hybrid system make it relevant in 2021? And can it really be worth the 155 grand that it costs?
I don't know whether you can help save the planet by driving a 2.7 tonne, so call it 3 tonne, with a few passengers in it, SUV that happens to have a new hybrid powertrain in it. But this is the new Bentley hybrid, and I'm not convinced about it so far, having spent a bit of time with it. It's a very nice car in a conventional sense, but the hybrid bit, and particularly the powertrain that's attached to the hybrid bit, which is basically an Audi V6 engine, is not that spectacular. I don't know. It's a lovely car, is the Bentayga, so long as you approve of the way it looks. Plenty don't. It steers beautifully, it rides beautifully, it drives extremely well for such a big old machine. It's beautifully refined. The cabin is delightful, always has been, always will be. But as I say, do you try and save the planet by putting a hybrid powertrain in a 3 tonne SUV? I'm not convinced, not yet.
The Bentayga's battery is a 17.3 kWh lithium-ion unit that provides boost for the V6 petrol engine via a single e-motor. It weighs 210 kilograms and is stored beneath the rear seats and boot, meaning the 7-seat option is not available in the Bentayga hybrid. The four-wheel drive chassis is essentially the same as the one you get in the V8 Bentayga, and it offers a strong mix of comfort and control, with crisp, if a touch lifeless steering and surprisingly sharp handling for a car that weighs this much.
I mean, essentially what you're getting with the Bentayga hybrid is a big slice of Audi tech in this, a Bentayga. On paper that sounds quite clever, but surely Bentleys have always sold on their character, their personality, their Bentleyness, if you will. And look, that's full beans, and I've got it in sport, and it ain't making any very nice noises. The personality in this car on the move is ever so slightly lacking.
The new Bentayga's interior feels even more luxuriant than before, and the main highlight is its new TFT instrument display. The looks of this are subjective, but the clarity of information on display is hard to criticise and easy to like. Same goes for the big new central touchscreen display and the new steering wheel, which looks every bit as good as it feels.
There are 3 different drive modes to choose from, all of which you operate by this little rotational button down here. You've got normal, you've got sport, and you've got Bentley, but you've also got custom, where you can play with the settings for the throttle map and the steering and the dampers, etc. You can separate everything off and put them all in their own settings. That's cool, that's fine. You can do that in a normal Bentayga. But then you've got 3 different drive modes. You've got full EV mode, in which you have a 25-mile range. You've got hybrid mode, which is the most intelligent mode to drive it in, using the least electricity, using the least fuel, but sending you down the road. And then you've got hold, which allows the battery to stay in a constant state of charge, but obviously leans on the petrol engine that much harder to hold the battery in its state of tune. All this is very clever tech, but it works. It works really well. But the trouble is the battery itself takes 2.5 hours to charge from absolute zero to absolute max. And that gives you 25 miles of E-range. 2.5 hours for 25 miles. That's not exactly spectacular. And that's from a fast charge. From a regular 3-pin plug socket at home, you're nearly 7 hours for 25 miles. I'm being a bit unfair there because obviously you've got a turbocharged 3-litre V6, but I don't know, 2.5 hours to get 25 miles. It's not marvellous, is it?
In basic tune, the V6 engine develops 335 bhp, but with the hybrid system this rises to 443 bhp and 700 Nm of torque. Enough to fire the four-wheel drive 2.7 tonne Bentayga hybrid to 62 miles an hour in 5.5 seconds and to a top speed of 158 miles an hour. The range on a single 75-litre tank and with the battery fully charged is a claimed 431 miles, with the car capable of 25 miles on pure EV power alone.
This is an awful lot of car for £155,000. There's no denying it. Personally, I would rather have the V8 or the 12, but you ain't going to get a hybrid one of those. But just that sort of anodyne, really quite characterless noise from the engine it's not something that you want to put a Bentley badge on, I don't think. More novelty, more appeal for me is to do that and put it in full EV mode, and then you get the spooky, super silent, delightful fluidity to the drivetrain and the driving experience, as you can hear. Well, actually, as you can't hear. And that's always been one of the lovely things about Bentleys, their serenity, their sort of majestic silence, the way in which they go down the road. And this, a full EV Bentley, kind of suits that personality, I think.
So is the Bentayga hybrid a true Bentley, or is it just a nod in the direction of our new green world? In truth, it's a bit of both. And if nothing else, it provides a stopgap until Bentley's range of cars goes fully electric in just a few years' time. But whatever its purpose, the Bentayga hybrid is unlikely to go down as one of Bentley's greatest ever cars.